updates. First and foremost, we'll have the numbers for coronavirus at 1:30 with Dr. Michael Fine, the former Director of Health. We'll be going over all of that. Also, take a look this afternoon on an interesting story comparing and contrasting the economies of Rhode Island with one western state. We'll have that out to the e-blast to 49,000 in the next hour. Also, want to welcome the new corporate player in Rhode Island, Vince Sorgi. He's the CEO and president of PPL down in Pennsylvania. They are purchasing the National Grid platform here in Rhode Island. The official name of that entity is Narragansett Electric, an old homeschool brand. Vince, thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to be with you, Josh. Thanks for having me.
So you're a year into the CEO president position, and you're making some big deals. This is a deal that I think many Rhode Islanders are hopeful about. Talk a little bit about PPL and also why you made the acquisition.
Yeah, sure. So just a little bit about PPL. You know, we are a 100-year-old company. We just celebrated our 100th year anniversary last year. We're headquartered in Allentown, Pennsylvania. We have utilities in Pennsylvania, Kentucky, and the United Kingdom. Our headquarters for our PA utility is also here in Allentown. Headquarters for our operations in Kentucky are in Louisville. And I would say the announcement last week with National Grid was really about a strategic repositioning for our company, moving away from the international side of the business and becoming a fully U.S.-focused energy company. And couldn't be more excited about moving up into Rhode Island and serving the customers of Rhode Island. Just the more I get to know the business, the more fond of it that I become, and just really looking forward. And quite honestly, we'll be honored to serve the customers of Rhode Island. This is a transaction, as I said, it'll be strategic to our repositioning as a company. And going forward, Rhode Island will have my attention as the CEO of the company. It will have the attention of my senior leadership team, but it'll also have the attention of my board of directors. And we just couldn't be more excited about the opportunity to serve the customers up there.
Vince, I think people in Rhode Island, both from the commercial markets as well as the residential markets, will be looking forward to potentially new ownership. The UK-based entity that controlled National Grid was maybe not as responsive as some people had hoped, and we had a number of issues, including a major energy outage on Aquidneck Island a year and a half ago or so. Talk about your philosophy, especially on that sort of touch and feel. Listen, Allentown, Pennsylvania is probably a lot like Providence and Pawtucket and places like that up here. It's old school. It's a little former manufacturing based, and trying to make the transition to a new economy. Talk about how you've worked down there and how you hope to bring that philosophy here.
Yeah, I think it's a great question. First of all, I would just like to say that we have a very customer-focused approach in terms of our operations. We pride ourselves on delivering industry-leading reliability and customer satisfaction for our customers. Our operating model really puts technology and innovation to work for those that we serve. We're always looking for opportunities to work smarter, to be more efficient, and then reinvest those savings into the network so that we keep the bills affordable for our customers. But in addition to the use of technology and automating our grid, and I'll tell you, we have one of the most advanced grids in the country with our Pennsylvania utility. But also, as we're replacing the older infrastructure, so the wires and the poles, we don't replace that in kind. We replace that with stronger, more durable materials. And that really enables the network to withstand severe weather, much better than what historically has been the case. And when that severe weather does strike, we are committed to getting power and the natural gas back to our customers as quickly as we possibly can. And so again, our strategy is kind of twofold: make the network harder, stronger, more resilient to prevent the outage in the first place, but then we adopt technology and automation on the grid so that we can get customers back as quickly as we possibly can. Just a little bit of what we've been able to accomplish here in PA over the last decade. nearly a 30% reduction in outages over the last decade. We've improved our customer satisfaction 20% over that time, and we've kept our cost structure flat over the last 10 years. So I'll just go back to this customer-centric approach that we have. Everything we do is geared towards having reliable service for our customers and making sure that that's driving satisfaction.
That business model may damage GoLocal significantly. One of our most popular reader articles is the live map we run during every storm, which shows all the power outages across Rhode Island. Now, if you're significantly better at declining the number of power outages, could have an adverse effect on us as a digital news company. But I think most Rhode Islanders will gladly welcome it. There's so much frustration, I think, over the past few years on simple storms causing major outages, both for people just trying to live their lives in the residential market, but also really adversely impacting businesses. Talk a little bit about, the Brits didn't have a big presence here. They didn't have sort of the people you could involve, some, but not as many as I think people would like to see in philanthropy, in connecting to the community, to having discussions about the future of Rhode Island's economy. Those incredibly important discussions that are so important to how Rhode Island develops economically. Talk about how you'll staff up here in Rhode Island.
Yeah, Josh, you're covering a few areas that are part of the strategic direction and philosophy that we have as a company. We have, the way we operate our utilities is a fairly localized approach. So the people that will be delivering the service from both an operations and customer perspective will be in the state. That we think that is incredibly important, that we have presence in the jurisdictions that we're serving, and that our leaders are directly accessible to those that we serve, so that in the unfortunate incident that things don't go exactly as planned. And of course, we all strive for perfection, but we are human and things happen. It's important that we have that connection with the local community. And that's not just on the operations and the customer service, but it's also just with our engagement with our communities. One of my strategic imperatives for our company is to build strong communities in the areas we serve. We firmly believe, Josh, as a company, that we cannot be successful if our communities are not successful. And so we give our time, talent, and treasure back to the communities to do everything we can to foster very strong communities that we serve. And that just last year, that was in the form of just for COVID alone, we raised over $2 million and contributed that to COVID relief funds. We also helped to get our communities started on racial and social justice initiatives, et cetera. So things that are important to the community are important to us, and you will find that we will be very much a partner, not only on the non-for-profit side, but just in general in terms of making the communities as strong as they can be.
Vince, obviously, from the White House on down, President Biden has spoken out about an aggressive greenhouse strategy, and we'll have legislation at the national level, Rhode Island legislature moving forward, very aggressive legislation here in Rhode Island. What's the company's strategy on decarbonization? This is the ocean state. We live and die off our tourism and our marine business, and how critical it is. Senator Sheldon Whitehouse down in Washington, I think, gives us a speech every week on this issue. How will PPL sort of merge those philosophies into its business strategy?
Well, first of all, this is one of the areas that I'm extremely excited about, and my team is extremely excited about working with the employees of Narragansett, but also with state officials. You have very ambitious, the state of Rhode Island has very ambitious clean energy goals as well, with 100% renewable energy by 2030, and that's part of a much broader net zero by 2050 economy-wide goal within the state. So that's very progressive in your thinking. We are also committed to a clean energy transition here at PPL. We've committed to at least an 80% reduction in carbon emissions by 2050. We are investing in R&D to try to move faster, even further than the 80% that we've set. And it's right now as an industry, we have a pretty clear view on how to get to 80, maybe close to 90% reduction. But we need technology improvement to get us fully to net zero. And so we're committed to also investing in that. But one of the things that that will be required for the state of Rhode Island to achieve its ambitions will be a smarter, much more automated grid that is designed for renewable energy. And Josh, I could tell you we've built that grid here in Pennsylvania. We've invested significantly in over 7,000 smart devices that are all over our network. We've built the software and the technology behind the scenes to be able to seamlessly connect either distributed energy resources like rooftop solar or batteries, or more community-sized solar projects. Of course, the first offshore wind farm in the U.S. was right off the Block Island coast. So you guys have led the way with offshore wind in our country as well. So we're looking forward to partnering with the state and with the employees up there to come up with additional innovative ideas to really help deploy what we've created here in PA and do it in less time in Rhode Island because we've already built it here. We have a lot of the software and the technology already built. So our hope is that we could bring that to the state and help you achieve your very ambitious goals, which we completely support.
Listen, Vince, you brought it up. Offshore wind, we think not only is a critical part of our energy solution, it's also potentially a massive economic driver. We've got projects, obviously, Block Island, first done by Deepwater, now part of Ørsted. Ørsted's part of a major initiative. There's also Vineyard Winds. There's a number of major offshore wind projects. Previously, I think it's no secret that the offshore wind projects have had frustration with sort of old school utility companies and integrating and connecting, how quickly those companies can move. How are you guys going to be different, and are you built for the speed to be able to adapt to those new energy sources that could come relatively quickly, especially with this administration, the Biden administration, now in office?
Well, I think that's where our opportunity is unique, and why we think we're uniquely positioned, really to be the owners of Narragansett Electric again. And I think that grid, Josh, that we've built in Pennsylvania was built for exactly what you all are going through in Rhode Island. And so, our ability to deploy that technology and to get the grid of the future basically built today will really be the key to enabling seamless integration of offshore wind and other renewable generation sources within the state. So that's really why, the more I get to understand, Rhode Island policy, but also the business itself, just the more excited I get, and the more I think that I don't know if you believe in fate, but I just think we are the perfect owners for Narragansett at this time to help the state get to their net zero goals.
So in Rhode Island, we're very parochial. So when you get directions from somebody of how to get to, say, the airport, they'll tell you to turn where the Almac supermarket used to be. That chain went out of business about 20 years ago. Everyone will want to know, what's the brand name? National Grid had no connection to Rhode Island. Will it revert back to the Narragansett Electric brand, or will you have some hybrid?
I think that's certainly an option that we're considering. We haven't decided what the name will be for the Rhode Island utility, but certainly going back to the Narragansett Electric is certainly something we're considering, Josh, but we just haven't made that decision yet.
You get the last word. Listen, it's your opportunity to sort of talk to folks. What do you want Rhode Islanders to know about you as a CEO and president, and PPL as a company coming into Rhode Island?
Well, you touched upon it a little bit in some of your questions, but I would just say that PPL is a forward-looking company. We are, with the way in which we operate our networks, we are trying to be nimble. We're trying to be forward-looking. We're trying to create the utility of the future today. Again, we have one of the most advanced grids in the country in our Pennsylvania utility. Many of our peers are just starting on that journey now. So making sure that we continue that forward-looking approach and being nimble being innovative in solving our country's and certainly our service territories issues. We will listen. While we've done some pretty innovative things, we don't think we're the smartest people in the room. And so we spend a lot of time listening. We want to hear from our constituents. We want to hear from our customers. We want to hear from our legislators and our elected officials. What's going well in Rhode Island right now under National Grid's ownership? What can be improved? And we want to hear that from our employees as well. And we will work together to deliver the best possible outcome for the customers of Rhode Island. And so I would just say, from my perspective, I appreciate all of the engagement that we've had so far. We've reached out to the governor's office and the House and the Senate up there, and we've spoken with the chair of the Public Utility Commission. So all of that engagement has been great so far, and we look forward to not only continuing that through the approval process, Josh, but continuing that moving forward. It's important that, as we talked about, that we have a local presence and that we're engaged not only with our customers, but also the broader community. So I just couldn't be more proud of our company and what we've accomplished, but I just can't be more excited about trying to bring that to the folks in Rhode Island. And I did get some time to visit Rhode Island. I toured the state before we did the signing with National Grid last week, and I made it as far south as Narragansett Bay, but we were in Cranston and Warwick. Of course, spent some time in Providence and got over to Brown University, and then we shot up to Woonsocket and Cumberland, and then down to Barrington, over onto Aquidneck Island, and even had some time to do the cliff walk. So I will say you have a beautiful state up there. And again, you have our commitment to do everything we can to serve the customers of Rhode Island to the very best of our ability.
Vince, I really appreciate you taking the time. Best of luck through the regulatory process. Should take 6 to maybe 12 months as it goes forward. And we'll stay up to date, and hopefully we can check in with you as this process goes along. For everybody, stay tuned. Dr. Michael Fine, former Director of Health, will be back at 1:30. We'll be talking about the numbers and especially updates on how some of the vaccines are developing, some complexities and some good news. For everybody, please stay safe, and please wear your mask. Let's beat this thing down and get back to a great summer here in Rhode Island. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Josh.